breezes that blow in the spring, and sweet is the music the song thrushes bring. But I sigh for a sight I seldom see now, a man in the field with horses and plough. Adieu to the days of my youth long ago.
Now, the first thing I have to do is bring out the manure from the back of the wire, from the dunker. Now, the manure should have been out in the harvest time. It would go onto the ground that you're intended to plough, and putting it out now on top of the ground where you're going to plough is going to make it very difficult. So we're doing the lazy way. We're bringing out the manure, and then we're going to put it on top of the ridges when we're hearting. We'll go through that in a few minutes, but for now anyway, this is an ass load of manure out at the back of the byre. We'll just heel it up here now, and we'll have it ready for loading then in the next load. Up. Ready now. These are poor dogs. When you got the manure out into the field, in order to get it onto the ridge, you needed to put them into these baskets. They were called poor dogs. Sometimes they were used on hilly ground where they couldn't go with a cart, but for the sake of heritage we do it this way today, even though we probably could go down the ridge with the cart. So you fill those and you head it off out to the ridge, and it is two at a time. Sometimes if you pull both handles at the same time they should drop down, but in this case we don't need that because we're doing two different ridges. So we'll try it anyway and see how it goes. I'm not an expert on products, but I did use them bringing out tough off the bog. Now, we'll not overload them, and maybe we'll go with that and see how we get on. Okay. Now, let's go. Now, okay. Easy. And on to the ridge. And whoa. Okay. Now, drop there, and we pull this one and drop it here onto the ridge. Now, and that's it. We were talking about setting potatoes and guggering and what have you. So I suppose before we start to do anything, we have to plough. Funny enough, they never called it ploughing when you were digging, when you were turning sods for setting potatoes. They just called it turning sods or ploughing ridges. But ridges is what we have here. They were made not with the horse, and plough as I remember when I was young, but by young Kevin Quinn. Kevin Quinn, a neighbour of ours, is a young lad, but I'm glad to say he's very skilled in ploughing. He'd have picked it up from his father, who was a great ploughman, Paul Quinn, Lord have mercy on him, and a great harvester. He put in a bit of oats and potatoes and barley and what have you every year. And Kevin, thank God, learned the trade of ploughing, because there are very few young men left, or indeed old men left, that can plough nowadays. What he ploughed here for us is called a two-sod ridge. That's, or in some cases, or in some places, particularly in Donegal, they call it a Leitrim ridge, strange enough. It's two sods thrown against other. There was another method of ploughing here in Leitrim, which we never did. It was called two sods and a henton. The true two sods, a little bit wider apart, and left a green or a sod down the middle of the furrow. And when you had your potatoes put in, they called it dropping, you would then throw in the henton. But this is now, they were very particular about ploughing. A good ploughman would be very precise. And in some cases, where they weren't sure of their eye, they would mark the ground with lime, like here. They would start there and put a line down like that, the full way, all the way down from the headland down to where they came out at the end of the score, like that, all the way down there. Now in this case, we didn't have to use it because young Kevin Quinn was good at it, and as you can see with the look of his eye, he never went off line. Some of the old ploughmen used to take off their cap and leave it below at the end of the score and claim they could pick up their cap with the sack of the plough when they came out to the end. But in this case, as I say, Kevin knew what he was doing and he kept a straight furrow. You often hear people saying he ploughed a straight furrow. But that was the start. What you needed to do was plough that. And then you had the process of putting out the manure, which should have been done, as I said before that. Getting the skeeving ready. The skeeving is here, I'll get it for you now. That's the skeeving. That's for putting holes in the ridge to put the potato into. You went along like that and you made a hole in the ridge like that, dropped the potato into it. Now, if you had a guggerer, which I had, lucky for me, I had Anna, my little granddaughter, guggering for me. But if you didn't have somebody to gugger, you had a thing called a proshkeen. A proshkeen was what it was called. It's basically a bag apron. An apron made out of a sack, and with a large pocket on the front of it. I'll just get the potatoes now, and I'll just throw them into it and show you. Sorry, now that's my little gallon for carrying the potatoes, or the splits as they were sometimes. But when you didn't have someone to gugger, you put them in there like that, left down that, and you walked along the ridge. No, I'm not setting this for real, as I say. You walked along the ridge like that, made the hole, and dropped in one of your potatoes. Punched it down a little bit with the tip of the skeeving, like that. Now, as I say, I'm not setting this officially, I'm just giving an idea of how they did it. Usually two across, sometimes three, and some people used to put down just one down the middle of the ridge. But for now anyway, and when I get to setting this properly, I'll probably put two, one on either side for old time's sake, because that's the way we did it when I was young. It's probably a bit early for putting in potatoes in what they call lee ground. This is lee ground. It's probably that little bit early. Wouldn't be putting them in now until maybe the last week of April. There was an old man lived beside me here, and he used to say you were never late setting potatoes as long as you could see out through an ash tree. And maybe he was right. You see, the frost could come when the potatoes would be just peeping up and kill off the stalks, and then you were in big trouble. So they were kind of conscious of that all the time. And even later on, you could get a frost in the end of May or indeed early June. There was an old man beside me here, and the daughters were in England and came home for a holiday, and they were proposing to have a little party for themselves and their friends before they went back to England. And they asked the father about it, and he was a cranky old man anyway. And by God, he said, there'll be no party in this house. I'd sooner see a frost in June than a party. But they were cautious of the frost, and there wasn't much you could do about it. If the frost killed off the stalks, you were in trouble. So upland would be about, well, from the second or third week in May on, and moor would even be later. Moor ground is where a lot of the crop went in. That would be something later. So, as I say, for the purposes of our little video, this was the proshkeen, full of potatoes with a pocket where you could put in all you like, and the stevine. Now, when the potatoes were set, and as I said, this is only a demonstration, you went back and you stopped the holes. That, and that, down the 3 strokes, right? One thing you had to do was stop the crows lifting them, and the other thing is you didn't want rain going down onto where the potatoes were set. And then later on, you had to come up and you had to break the furrows, or they call it scording furrows. You went along with, that's a little plough there, I'll show it to you after a while, that I did use for scording furrows. It's an ass's plough. The big plough we had there was for ploughing, but as I say, that's long gone now. And we'll go back over now to where the ploughs are. Now, when I was young, this is the plough we used. This was my father's plough. It was number 7, is it number 9? A Pierce plough made in Pierce's in Wexford. 2 horses ploughing together, and it wasn't an easy job, but it was when it was done right, it was a lovely job. Very skilled, and just hard work, but it was a great improvement from the lorry. My father ploughed obviously with this plough, but my grandfather before him did all his ploughing with the long lorry, which was even a more difficult job. But anyway, those are the times they were. This here is an ass's plough. Very handy, very light, easy to work with. But more of a garden plough. I don't think anyone ever, well, maybe they did plough with it in upland or in lee ground. They might have ploughed on the moor with it, which would be easy enough to work with, and 2 good asses. I did use this when I was young, scording furrows. Scording furrows was when you had your potatoes set, you had to go back then and go into the furrow with a plough or a scuffler some people had. And what you did was you ripped up the subsoil in order that when the potatoes start coming up, you had to, what they call, mould them or shovel them. And very important, because if the stalks grew and there wasn't enough earth around them, then you'd have stalks and no potatoes. So that's how we use this for scording for us with das. Sometimes it was a bit awkward to put a big horse down the centre of the furrow, so das was handy for that. He do that job. I did that, but ploughing, no, I didn't. I never ploughed. One of the advantages of doing this job was day out on the ridge was nice. Well, if the day was good, that was. I saw days when we snowing. Or hail at least. Uh, that's a copper plunger. It was made for me by a good friend of mine, Tom O'Donnell, a tinker man. He's the last of the tinsmiths. I think there's only 2 left in the country. So when I'm out and about or out in the bog or in the meadow or wherever, it's nice to drink tea out of that. I'm sitting on the loy, that's all the use I ever made of it. But the loy belongs to John Boland, and John uses the loy in competition, and it's lovely to watch a man work on the loy. They said it was a Leitrim tool, and I suppose it was. It certainly was used a lot in Leitrim. As I said before, my grandfather and his brother could turn over a quarter of an acre in the day with it. I never saw it used much. Then a bank maybe in the bog, but when I was a lot younger, that was my father's plough there behind me. Ploughed most of this ground here with 2 horses, not our 2 horses, we had 1 horse, and a neighbour then, Packy Kelleher, he used to plough with us. It was called swapping or co-working, and what it meant was when they came here and ploughed, and then they went back and ploughed his ground. And I remember it well. I didn't plough, I never ploughed, but the children had that, and I was walking behind the plough and standing on the sod in case they started to roll back, because if it did, it'd be a notorious mess. You'd have to lift it all back out again. I remember it well, and I remember everything about it better than I remember things last week, especially the horses. We had a chestnut horse. That's supposed to be an Irish draft horse, and Packy Keller had a big white mare, and even as a child I was fascinated by the look of them and the power of them. And when you were watching them, as I was walking behind there on the ridge, and to hear the sound of the leather stretching when they throw themselves into the collar, and then the tension on the chain, and the screech of the earth as the sock on moldboard was going through it, all of them things would stay in my mind forever, and did, even though that's, what, 65 years ago now. And my fascination with horses, I'd say, came from that, or those times. It was, there was never seen to be a rush in them times. People had time to come in and chat and eat the dinner and talk and sit on the ridge like I am now and take tea, smoke a fag or whatever. They never seemed to be under any pressure. That all finished in when the tractor, we didn't have a tractor then, but Tommy Joe Degnan used to plough for the country, and that sort of finished it then, and the days of the plough and the horse was over. But there were great times, and they were happy doing it, telling yarns and all the rest of it. It was simple times, but it was good times.
Oh, by me the breezes that blow in the spring, and sweet is the music the song thrushes bring. But I sigh for a sight I seldom see now, a man in the field with horses and plough. Adieu to the days of my youth long ago, when I harnessed the team near the burn below, and and I'd hie for the highlands beside Carrigaw to cleave the hard green sward with horses and plough, invoking a blessing, I started my day. Baloya Ramnabar is what I did say, hoping for guidance to keep my know-how and strike a straight furrow with horses and plough. And up at the headland, every once in a while, I rested my horses, all steaming with toil, with the sleeve of my shirt swept the sweat off my brow as I gazed on the work of my horses and plough. And in the evening, as the sun had sank low, with my Harley and ball to the sports field I'd go to win the All Ireland. We'd all made a vow and seek recreation from horses and plough. With whistling and lilting, the bed of a song, it lightened my labours all the day long. With seagulls around me and crows on the bough, all seeking the bounty of horses and plough. But the clatter of tractors, pollution and all have crippled the couple, and sad is that fall, while far away opaque we richly endow, forgetting the value of horses and plough. No soon I'll be going from this valley of woe to the fair fields of heaven. Sure, I'm hoping I will go. One request from St. Peter, I hope he'll allow. Eternal